plaque has just been put in within the last year. Otherwise, we just had the number and the orange square to mark his final resting spot. Now, this shouldn't surprise you because John Knox was followed in the thinking of Calvin. He wanted to be buried in an unmarked grave. And this is about as close as one gets to an unmarked grave. Actually, Pastor Reeder is just about standing on the grave. If he takes one step backwards, he'll be on it. Oh, it's so nice to know he's listening to me. And he's not even plugged in. Look at that.
At least it needs to be plugged
Good,
in.
okay. You're getting messages from where? Anyway, so this is where he's buried. And his stone has been lifted when they paved over this area to make it into a parking lot. When they built the High Court, they just put that orange square there, yellow square. So I'm sorry if it's a bit of a non-event for you.
We saw this morning.
Yeah.
With Kristen.
She took you here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go to the castle. We'll check that out.
Okay, haven't you been to the...
My question was, he died on November 24th. This is lot 23. Why did they put it in lot 24?
Well, the question should be, why didn't they do the numbering such as this was
Well, that's the
24?
issue, sure.
Because he was there first. All the rest of the people are still underneath this parking lot. They have just lost all identification.
So that's in the Scottish mind, that's not desecrating the graveyard?
That would be the Roman Catholic tradition, desecration of graveyard. In the Presbyterian or in the Calvinist idea, once you're dead, you're dead. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and it's nothing about the bones. So, he wanted an unmarked grave because he was so opposed to idolatry of any kind. He didn't want anybody worshiping at his grave, turning him into a hero, into a saint. St. John.
This is very common. Those of you that were with me last time, remember how we had to go search, and when I finally found Calvin's supposed gravesite, I mentioned to you that's his supposed gravesite. The only reason they were able to find that is because of some extended relationships later, and it's pretty much a tradition as to where they located it. And it's pretty much the same thing here. Knox, North Calvin, they're all trying to follow one of their namesake, John the Baptist. He must increase, I must decrease. So they've done their job. They're going to heaven. They're done. Now it's the next generation. Don't keep coming back to him. He's done what he's supposed to do. That was their consideration. And it wasn't so much that they would just say, put me in an unmarked grave, and that would be sufficient. So anyway, they all lived all of them would live lives that would diminish personal exaltation wherever possible. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit. You've been now in a church. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how theology affects church architecture and how the Reformation totally renovated the way churches would be constructed from Reformed theology. I'll do that a little bit later. But one of the things you'll notice is that at the Reformation, the Reformers, except for those that they think did not go far enough in the Reformation, such as Anglican and Lutheran, the Reformers, the dissenters, the nonconformists, they would strip the pastors of all of the multi-colored vestments, anything that would distinguish you, anything that said, believe in the priesthood of every believer, but they did believe in the call to preach and the importance of preaching. You ever heard St. Francis Assisi's statement, preach the gospel and if necessary use words? Now while I applaud his intent, and I probably will only see the back of his head when I get to heaven, that's good exhortation, but it's bad theology. To be saved, you have to do what? You have to believe. To believe, you have to what?
Hear.
You have to hear. Faith comes by hearing the word of Christ. And so that with the primacy of preaching, That would be exemplified in the architecture, but even more with them, when they would stand to preach, they would wear what became known as the Geneva gown or the Reformation robe. It was a black robe that said the preacher did not send himself. He had been sent by the Holy Spirit and sent by the church that had tested him. And therefore the robe declared that he had been tested and declared sent and gifted by the Lord. Secondly, the robe blocked the man out. The man was nothing. It is through the foolishness of the message preached that we're being saved, not the preacher. And so this is just one more step of blocking himself out, that you would only be fixed upon Christ and not upon him.
Okay, absolutely. All right, well, we're going to go now to a very special place, the Magdalene Chapel.
Where?
The Magdalene Chapel, which was started originally in the early 1500s as a special private chapel. You'll hear about its origins, but today it houses the Reformation Society. And it is, John Knox was certainly involved in it. He preached there, and I believe the articles of the Reformation were drawn up there. I think so. Anyway, we'll hear about it.
Yeah, well, we'll go there. Let me think, and I'll come up with it.
You have a mic?
He doesn't, but I'll give him this one if you want.